All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Saturday. We have made it to the weekend. We got a lot of fun college football today. But if you are on this channel, there's a pretty decent chance your focus is on tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Seahawks at 1:05 take on the Cardinals at home. And there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with this game. Usually, when I'm talking about a game against a team that we already played that year, it's kind of hard because I already talked about the team. Usually, it doesn't feel like there's a lot new you need to say. But in this instance, there's actually quite a bit because it feels like we're playing a little bit of a different team this time around. And the new elements bring some new strengths, but also some new weaknesses. So let's talk about it. But big picture, bottom line, this is a chance to end the Cardinals season more or less by beating them. Be right back. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, so Seahawks, like I said, hosting the Cardinals, chance to knock them to 3-6. At that point, they probably need to win out to actually make the postseason. And they still got games against the Rams. They still got a game against the Niners. That's not happening. So you got an opportunity to push them off for the rest of the season. And you're feeling good about where this team is right now, I think. As a Seahawks fan, team has been rolling the last few games, playing really, really high levels of football. But you also have to be aware of something else here. This is kind of the textbook definition of a trap game. You're playing a Cardinals team that has lost 5 of their last 6. You're playing technically a backup quarterback, although we'll get into that. And you got the Rams next week after this. So this is kind of like the textbook definition of that game that you go into feeling really good about, but you feel so good about it, you're thinking about the next opponent. You're thinking about the big showdown that might determine the NFC West the next week. So that's the first thing. This team cannot fall into that trap. And that trap thing, that's real. That is a real thing, especially when you're playing a team that is desperate. So, real quick, I do plan on doing a watch-along stream of this game. So, around 1 o'clock, I'm going to go live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Going to basically just sit here, do play-by-play, talk about the game, interact with chat. It's going to be one of 2 times I do that this year, so this is going to be one of them. Haven't decided when the last one's going to be, but I am going to do it one more time. But come hang out. We'll talk about whatever. We'll go through the game, play-by-play, and hopefully we have a good game to talk about on stream. But yeah, just tune in. I know that there are a couple other Seahawks creators that do play-by-play of Seahawks games, but I will be one of them this week, and it's a rare occasion, so definitely come check that out. But beyond that, simply put, the main focus for the Seahawks in this game is we have a different quarterback to play. And on the surface, you're like, okay, they got their backup quarterback in there, so we should be good, right? He's worse than the guy who was starting, right? Maybe not. I don't know if Jacoby Brissett is better than Kyler Murray. In fact, he probably isn't. But Brissett is probably better for this Cardinals team. And the reason why I say that, Jacoby Brissett can play in rhythm. He can play on time. He can make standard throws. He can make standard plays. He can make standard reads. And he can just kind of execute a game plan and stay on an even keel. He'll take a lot of sacks, but he'll avoid turnovers. And he's kind of a steadying force on this offense in a way. And when you compare that to Kyler, who was high variance and couldn't make standard plays, but could also make extraordinary plays that Jacoby Brissett could never make, I actually think Brissett's style is better for this team. You look at the featured player in this Cardinals offense right now, Marvin Harrison Jr., he benefits, in my opinion, tremendously from having Jacoby Brissett in there. And honestly, Trey McBride might as well. You can at least make that argument. So that's a concern. Maybe concern isn't the right word because it's not like Jacoby Brissett is great. But like I said, pretty good at avoiding the turnovers. Pretty good at just kind of keeping the game alive, right? He's not going to scramble around, make three guys miss in the backfield, and then throw it off his back foot into a shoebox 45 yards down the field. But he's also not going to miss the slant pass right in front of him down the middle of the field. He's not going to be late throwing the ball on a timing route. He's just going to execute the game plan and then keep the game moving, basically. Very different from Kyler. You look at Kyler, you see a player that leaves a ton of plays on the field, even if he's also putting plays that weren't there on the field at the same time. And that can be great. Like, we experienced this for years with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was a guy who would take stuff off the table, but he would put a lot of stuff on the table that very few other quarterbacks could. That was Kyler. And Kyler never got to those heights, I'm sure, but it's the same idea. And now you have Brissett, who's going to kind of smoothly run the offense. It's not going to be great. You're probably going to punt the ball more than you did with Kyler, but you're not going to have the turnovers, and you're not going to be watching replays of routine basic quarterback plays and getting furious as much because he missed the wide open play right in front of him. And there are some other strengths to Jacoby as well. Like I said, it's not just the avoiding turnovers thing. While he does get sacked a lot, he's a bigger quarterback, a little bit harder to bring down. He does actually have a little bit of that Ben Roethlisberger ability to kind of absorb contact and keep going, and at the very least get the ball off before he goes down. So, better than your typical backup quarterback in this league right now, and for this Cardinals team that is building their offense around great route runners, guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Brissett is probably the better option. And I think Kyler is certainly going to be gone at the end of the season. I think he's going to be going to the Jets, the Steelers, something like that. So we may have seen Kyler for the last time, for all we know. This could have been it. So part of me is kind of sad because we usually beat him. We usually took care of him. But at the same time, while everything I just said, I think makes it pretty clear that Brissett is the right guy for this Cardinals team, that doesn't mean he's a great quarterback. Doesn't even really mean he's a good quarterback. And with the way this Seahawks defense is playing right now, you absolutely should be able to handle him. Excuse me, but you've got this quarterback here who takes a lot of sacks. Jacoby Brissett has been sacked, I think, an average of 5 1/3 times per game in the last 3 games. Dallas, one of the worst defenses in football, sacked him 5 times. Now, we sacked Kyler Murray all the time when we played the Cardinals. When we played the Cardinals earlier this year, we sacked Kyler 6 times. But Jacoby's a guy who will understand when he's beat and understand that a sack is better than a turnover. And he's a little bit of a sitting duck back there. So right off the bat, you're like, okay, pass rush, this is your chance to pad your stats. If you're Boye Mafe, if you're Derek Hall, and you've got no sacks through the first 8 games of the season, you're looking at this game and you're like, okay, this is my chance This is my chance to start padding those stats, trying to get some money at the end of the season. For Boye Mafe especially, but even Derek Hall's eligible for an extension at the end of the year. You're not getting that extension if you're not getting sacks. So this is a great chance. If you're Leonard Williams, who has played great against the Cardinals multiple times since arriving in Seattle a couple years ago, this is a great opportunity. You're playing a Cardinals team that is very weak, I think, on the interior of their offensive line. Evan Brown isn't playing as well as he did last year. Will Hernandez isn't healthy. It's just not a very good offensive line other than Paris Johnson overall, I think. And if you are this Seahawks pass rush, this is your chance to just go off. Like, this could be a 9-sack game very reasonably, I think, with this pass rush versus this quarterback and this offensive line without even blitzing. You shouldn't even really need to go crazy with the schemed pressure. You should just be able to win the battle up front through pass rushing skill, one-on-one, mano-a-mano. So there's that. Now, we're probably not going to have Ernest Jones. That's obviously a thing, and we know we don't have Josh Jobe. But here's the thing. This Cardinals team is down to their third-string running back. They've got Emery Demercado, and they've got a couple other guys that get the occasional carry here and there. But their top 2 running backs from before the season started are out. So before this game even starts, they're pretty much one-dimensional. They don't really run the ball that much, and they don't have Kyler providing dual threat stuff. So this should be a very one-dimensional Cardinals attack. Even without Ernest Jones, you should be able to stop the run against this team and force them to beat you on the arm of Jacoby Brissett. And he's a good backup quarterback, but he should not be the guy that thumps your team on the back of his arm. And yeah, I think that's really all that need be said there. It's a different kind of challenge. He poses a different kind of threat, but it's a threat that you can handle. This is not Josh Allen. This is not Justin Herbert. This is a decent backup quarterback who stylistically fits this offense a little bit better. But there's a reason why anybody could have had Jacoby Brissett in the offseason. There's a reason why he's been all around the league in his career. Playing for the Patriots, Colts, went back to the Patriots, spent some time with the Browns, Arizona. Like, there's a reason why he bounces around. He's not a great quarterback at all. So, feeling good about that. And then the other side of the ball, it's pretty simple. When the Seahawks have the ball, you attack the secondary. And earlier this week, I would not have said that, but we have no Will Johnson and no Max Melton. Their 2 starting outside cornerbacks are out. So if you're Jackson Smith and Jigba, and if you're Rashid Shaheed, and if you're Cooper Kupp, assuming he plays, which it looks like he will, this is your opportunity to go off. And if you're JSN, you're used to going off. Don't get me wrong. Like, JSN goes off every game. But if you're Rashid Shaheed, you should be looking at this and going, okay, teams stack the box against the Seahawks constantly. Like, teams stack the box against the Seahawks more than pretty much any other team in this league. If they stack the box in this game with their backup corners, I should have like 300 yards. I should catch like 8 go routes deep down the field, and I should break every record in the book. Those guys cannot keep up with me. Those guys cannot handle me. And I'm going to have the game of my life. So if the Cardinals decide we're going to do what pretty much every defense has done against the Seahawks so far this year and stack the box, kill them on the outside. Make them pay on the outside over and over and over again. But if the Cardinals do what I think common sense will force them to do and not stack the box and actually double team our receivers to help out their backup cornerbacks, they're going to have guys like Denzel Burke out there. This might be the week where the running game goes off. This might be the week where there are finally open opportunities for Walker and Charbonnet to have big games. Something we have not seen really at all this season. And we're going to force these teams to pick their poison. Either they play us straight up, they play us honest, and we beat them on the ground because we do have an offense that really tries to establish the run, or you stack the box and now Shaheed takes the top off. And look, if Arizona had their corners, if they had Will Johnson, who's playing great so far this year, if they had Max Melton, I might say, they might be able to kind of pull off the balancing act. But I don't see how they do it in this game because overall, their front has not been what they were hoping. They had a good game against Dallas, but overall, they're not getting what they wanted out of their front. And they're not going to have Mac Wilson in this game. They're not going to have BJ Ojulari. Those are two guys they would normally count on, but those guys are still out. And Darius Robinson has been a big flop so far in this league. Dalvin Tomlinson has been okay. David Collins is okay. They're getting great play out of Calais Campbell. He's been awesome for them, right? Sweat has been great, but overall, it's been very hit or miss in that front seven, what they get. And I think they're playing another rookie out there. I think it's Cody Simon at linebacker because they don't have Mac Wilson. So you should be able to really make that weakness a problem for the Cardinals the entire game. And again, there's a scenario where Will Johnson is out there and Max Melton is out there. Maybe they're able to get away with singling up on JSN and Shaheed. Maybe they can kind of survive. But with both those guys being out and two of their starting linebackers being out, I think it almost feels like they just have to guess every play and just cross their fingers. Stack the box and hope we run it, or play back and hope we throw. Like, that's there are a few defenses out there that I think can handle the Seahawks offense with Shaheed in the lineup. The Cardinals are not one of those defenses. Not here. Not with this arrangement of talent. So I think we're going to take care of it there. I do think the game will be somewhat close because it's a divisional game and it's also Arizona's last chance. And there may be a little bit of a trap game element at play where Seattle isn't completely focused. But I'm going to go 27-20 Seattle. I'm tempted to go 27-17 because of how kind of grody it got for Arizona injury-wise over the last couple days. But I'll stick with 27-20. I've kind of had it in the back of my head. Arizona will find a way to make it kind of close because of the nature of a divisional game. All right. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. Streaming the Huskies game in a few hours. See you guys then. And let's get this one. And let's go to 7-2. Go Hawks.